Hi there, I'm Professor Juris, and I just wanted to make you a quick video and talk to you about plastic cameras, particularly the Holga camera. And I'm going to discuss the philosophy behind the camera and my intent for you using this camera. So why don't we start with maybe the intent. This camera has a long history, and the history actually begins with this camera called the Diana camera. I doubt that the Holga camera would ever exist if it wasn't for the Diana camera. Now, the Diana camera actually gained popularity throughout, I think, the whole United States and possibly maybe even the whole world, through photographic instructors having students use this at Ohio University in Athens. So this may have all started in Ohio. And I know for a fact that Arnold Gasson, who was the director of photography at Ohio University in Athens for a long time, had his students use this camera. I've had students that studied with him tell me that this is the camera that they used when they were down there in Athens. So I have a copy of Arnold Gasson's textbook here, the Handbook of Contemporary Photography. And I first got a hold of this in the early 80s. And this was the fourth edition, I believe. If you can get a copy of this book, I would highly recommend it. This book is great. But in Gasson's book right here, if you turn to the instruction about using a camera and film, it has the camera that's actually featured in this book is a Diana camera. So what is the significance of this camera? Well, the significance is the type of image that it creates. It was called a Carnival Prize. I think these were like $3 when they were available. In order to get a Diana camera now, you can buy one, but it's a newer generation one. For a long time, you couldn't get these; they were not being made anymore. And then some company maybe purchased the old molds or made new molds and started making them again because they'd gained so much popularity. Using these plastic cameras is a cult following of people that love taking pictures with these things. And why do they like taking pictures? Is because of the effect of this camera. How good is the actual effect of this camera, or how significant is it? Well, there's actually apps on the iPhone that's there's an app called the Hipstamatic that mimics the effects of this camera. I believe there was one called the Holga, and they may have gotten in trouble like legally for having it close to. They were actually copying, the Holga. They called it the Holga was the app, but now it's the Hipstamatic, I believe, is the one. But there's probably other ones out there. There's always new apps coming out every day, and what those apps do is they mimic the effects that you get with these cameras. What are the effects? The effects are usually darker edges, the photograph being sharp in the center but fuzzy around the outside. So they create different things, and they help students begin, I believe, to see things artistically by taking a picture with this. If you're taking a picture with the standard camera, especially the newer cameras that self-focus and everything, and that you don't control anything, you never have any creativity. But with this picture, without using the Hipstamatic app on an iPhone or on a smartphone, try to take a photo where you control the depth of field. Try to take a photo where you can make the edges darker. You can do all that in Photoshop, but there again we have all that where it's simply done by putting film in this camera, and taking pictures. You come up with these really cool looking negatives. So using this in a college situation where you're starting to take pictures, and you want to learn about darkroom photography, and you want to become a photographic artist, this is a medium format camera, which is very nice. It's probably the cheapest way to get a student involved in medium format photography. It makes very nice negatives, very creative looking negatives, but it also gets you into that realm of medium format. Now, most students aren't going to go out and spend, you can get a nice Hasselblad now for $1,500, which is, dirt cheap. Most students or people that are still toying with the idea of whether they not want to go into this may not want to spend $1,500. you know, on a camera. But you know, that's another video I can make talking about that. But so you're getting a larger negative to use with this camera, which is very nice. So this is significant because it has a number of advantages for you. One is the image quality, the print quality of a larger negative gives you better grain structure in your final print. But the nice thing about this is if you take a class in like non-silver photography where you're doing contact printing, this camera will actually enable you to make some very gem-like small prints, preferably in palladium or platinum. That would be very nice as far as creating a final portfolio. So that's one of the benefits of this. Now, the other benefits, like I said, were the effects of the camera. So you have to like kind of think about the effects that you're getting, and that's why we want to expose students to this, so that you can kind of see what this camera can do. So this is the Holga camera, which is the easiest one to get a hold of, and I believe they have these in the Sinclair bookstore, and you can also order them online from like B&H Photo and Freestyle Photo out in California. So a number of companies sell these now. This one's a little bit harder to get a hold of, but you can also, you know, find this one. And then I wanted to show you just a couple other cameras to give you an idea about cameras. This camera here was a 3D printed pinhole camera, but this, and I got this from the Pinhole Resource, but pinholeresource.com. This is actually a very cool camera. What it does is it actually wraps the film around, and it'll give you a negative about that big. So, you know, this is another option for using a plastic camera if you can get hold of one of these or some other type of plastic camera. Now, I wanted to show you one other camera that's not really a plastic camera, but it's a historical camera. And this actually took roll film when this was made. But a lot of people are actually converting these cameras now so they could put a piece of 4x5 film in them, and you would just take one shot at a time. They can also be converted to, if you wanted to do like some wet plate photography, you could you know, convert this camera for that. So you can find these, you know, a lot of times in a thrift store, at a flea market, and they're also a nice camera to have. So to sum it all up, I think that shooting with a plastic camera is invaluable for a student that's beginning in art photography. It'll help you start to see things differently. It'll get you involved in medium format photography, and it'll teach you about developing medium format film and so forth, and help you, hopefully the main thing is that I want you to get out of this is help you start to have your vision expanded and start to see things more creatively by the effects that the camera gives you, that your everyday camera when you're out there shooting will not give you. So we're going to have a part 2 to this video also, where I'm going to use iconographics to simply take pictures of some other images that were created with the Holga and the Diana camera by myself and by some other photographers. And I'll actually throw in a few hipstamatic ones in there too to show you what the newer generation does with the camera, and look at some of the things, the effects on there, so that you can look at. So that'll be part 2 of this video. So if you like this video, hit the thumbs up and follow me on my channel, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.